So do you also want to create a Google document on every Google Form submission? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to create a Google Docs on Google Form submission using OpenAI. So over here I am running a digital marketing agency and we received the client request on Google Form for which we have to create a proposal on Google Docs. But this is such a time consuming and a tedious task to create the proposals manually. So for that I've created this amazing automation where what is going to happen is that as soon as my client submits the Google form requesting for a proposal, automatically my AI agent is going to generate the proposal and we're going to add that proposal in a Google Doc and back again into our Google Sheets. So to do this we are simply going to create a connection between Google Forms, my AI agent which is OpenAI, Google Docs and then Google Sheets. And to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So if you also want to create this amazing automation for your own business, then for that you have to come with me towards my screen.
Welcome to my screen. So in this video, I'll show you how to create an automated system that generates Google Docs from Google Forms submission using an OpenAI. So whether it is reports, summaries or custom content, this workflow transforms raw responses into polished documents instantly. It is perfect for digital marketing agencies who are collecting the client requests using Google Form. So over here, I'm also running a digital marketing agency and I collect the client requests using this Google Form. And now what I want is whenever the client submits this form, a proposal should be ready to send them. And over here, you can see that I've already created a proposal, something like this right over here. So I'm just going to show you the proper working of this automation first, and then we're going to learn how to do this. So to show you the proper working of this automation, I'm just going to open my Google Form. So as you can see that I have already filled in this form. Over here, you can see the full name, the email address, the company or organization name, the brief description of the project, the estimated budget, preferred timeline, requirements, and the links for reference. So I'm just going to submit this form right over here. So I'm simply going to click on this submit button right over here. So yes, with this we have successfully submitted the form and the details of the same submission have been added right over here in my spreadsheet. And now what is going to happen is that using these details, my AI agent is going to generate the proposal draft and add that proposal draft right over here in my spreadsheet. So we're going to wait for a few seconds till my AI agent is doing the same. And as you can see that my AI agent has successfully generated me the proposal draft. So I'm just going to show you the draft right over here. So as you can see that it has successfully generated me the proposal draft. All right. So yes, this is the power of automation, that within seconds in real time, whenever a new Google Form submission is made, automatically the AI agent generated me the proposal draft. So yes, if you also want to create this amazing automation for your own business, then for that you have to watch this tutorial till the end. So to do this, we are simply going to open a new tab and we're going to look for the landing page of Pabbly Connect simply by searching pabbly.com/connect in our browser. And now it is opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect, and over here we have two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free and you're going to get 100 of hours free every month to explore the application. But over here I am an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this button which says sign in, and now it is opening all Pabbly apps, and over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connects account. And once we going to click on this access now, it is opening my dashboard, and to get started of this automation we simply have to click on this button which says create workflow, and now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here I want to save the workflow in this folder which says automations, and I want to name my workflow as this: how to create a Google Doc on Google Form submission using an AI agent. And then we're simply going to click on this button which says create, and once we're going to click on this create, it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger, and that's the the particular reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of a trigger in a particular workflow. And to get started, we are simply going to select our trigger application as Google Forms. So I'm just going to search for Google Forms right over here and select it. And once we select the trigger application, it is asking me for the trigger event. So for the trigger event, I'm simply going to select it as new response received. And once we're going to select the trigger event, it is giving me a webhook URL. So we're going to use the same webhook URL in order to create a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. So what we're going to do is I'm simply going to copy this webhook URL, and then we have to follow the help text, and it is saying log into your Google Form account on which you want to take the submission. Make the last question as required for trigger. Alright, so we're going to do the same. And as you can see that this is my Google Form, and over here I have successfully made this last question as required one. So it is a really important step to make this last question as required. And after doing this, we simply have to go towards this responses right over here. So as you can see over here, you're going to get the option of link with Sheets if you haven't linked your Google Sheets account with your Google Forms account. I'm getting the option of view in Sheets because I've already linked my Sheets and my Google Forms. That is the reason. So you're going to get the option of link with Sheets. You simply have to click on this button, and then a window like this will appear in front of you where you're going to get the responses of all your Google Forms submission. So yes, now we're going to create a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connect's workflow using this spreadsheet only. So what we have to do is we have to go towards this extensions, add-ons, and then towards this get add-ons. And after coming over here towards this get add-ons, we have to add an extension in the spreadsheet, which is Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So I'm just going to simply search for Pabbly Connect Webhooks and select it. So you have to install this extension right over here. As you can see that I've already installed this extension, so it is giving me the option of uninstall. But if you haven't installed this extension, you first have to install this extension right from here. And once you're going to install this extension, you have to refresh your spreadsheet. It is a really important step to refresh your spreadsheet. Otherwise, you're not going to get the option of Pabbly Connect Webhooks right over here in your extensions tab. And after getting the option of this Pabbly Connect Webhooks, what we have to do is we have to go towards this initial setup. And after coming over here towards this initial setup, what we have to do is it is asking me for the webhook URL and the trigger column. So we're going to paste this webhook URL right over here in this initial setup. Alright, so I'm simply going to paste the webhook URL, and now for the trigger column, I'm simply going to enter my trigger column, which is day. So the trigger column will be a final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row will be sent towards your webhook URL. So yes, now you know the reason why we made the last question as required, because that is our trigger column. Alright, so now I'm just going to enter my trigger column. This trigger column will be according to your forms and spreadsheet. And now we simply have to click on this button which says submit, and with this we have successfully created a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. But now it is saying waiting for a webhook response, and in the notes it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this webhook response, we have to do a test submission or record. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to open my forms and we're going to do the test submission. Let's say this time for the first name, I'm just going to keep it as test user. For the email address, we're going to keep it as this. For the company, I'm just going to keep it as this. For the project title or objective, I'm just going to enter it as this. And I've also given the brief description. Over here, I've given the estimated budget, the timeline, and the preferences. So as you can see that I've successfully filled in this form, and now I'm just going to simply submit this form to do the test submission. And as you can see that I've successfully submitted this form, and now I'm just going to open my workflow, and you can see that Pabbly has captured the response of the same submission. So yes, this was possible because over here in my spreadsheet, I have simply switched on this button which is send on event. So it is a really important step to switch on this button which is send on event, because upon switching on this button, what is going to happen is whenever a new Google Form submission is made, automatically the details would be sent towards the spreadsheet, and via the spreadsheet the details would be sent towards your workflow. So that is the reason that we always have to switch on this button which is send on event, because whenever a new event is going to occur in the spreadsheet, automatically the details would be sent towards your webhook URL, which is towards your workflow. And now Pabbly has captured the response of the same test submission, so we can move on further. Now over here with this, we have successfully completed our trigger step, and now whenever we are going to receive a new response from our Google Forms, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered. Alright, so we're going to move on further. Now what I want is I want to create a Google Doc on Google Form submission. So what I want is I first have to generate the proposal with the help of my AI agent. So I'm just going to go towards this actions right over here, and now for the action application, I'm simply going to select it as OpenAI. So I'm just going to search for OpenAI right over here, and then we're going to select it right over here. And now for the action event, we are simply going to select it as ChatGPT and click on this connect. Now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your OpenAI account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this, select existing connection, and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the token, and to get this token we are simply going to follow the help text, and it is saying kindly visit your OpenAI API key page to get the API key which you need to enter here. So I'm simply going to go towards my OpenAI API key page to get the API key, and now to get the API key we simply have to create a new secret key. So I'm just going to go towards this create new secret key, and now it is asking me for the key name. So let's say I'm just going to name my key as project proposal right over here. So I'm simply going to enter my key name right over here, and as you can see that I've successfully entered my key name. And now we're going to move on further, select the project and click on this create secret key button, and now my key has been created. So I'm simply going to copy this key, and then we're going to paste this key right over here in our workflow. And after pasting this key we are simply going to click on this button which says save, and with this we have successfully connected our OpenAI account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select the AI model, so I'm simply going to select the AI model as GPT-4. You can select any another of your choice. And now it is asking me to enter the prompt, so I'm simply going to enter my prompt right over here. So as you can see that I've successfully entered my prompt, and I'm just going to enter the details right over here. But we are not going to enter the details manually or by copy pasting it like this, but instead we're going to map it. So you must be wondering what is mapping. So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Google Forms as our trigger application. So we are simply going to map the details from the response of our Google Forms only. And as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. So first I'm just going to map this full name. We're going to move on forward. I'm just going to map the email address right over here. We're going to move on forward. I'm just going to map the company name right over here. We're going to move on forward, and I'm just going to map all of these details one by one. So I'm just going to map the title. I'm just going to map the description over here. We're going to move on further. I'm just going to map the estimated budget to right over here. Then we're going to move on forward, map the preferred timeline. We're going to move on forward and map all of these details one by one. So like I'm mapping, you also have to map the details exactly the same way. So once we're going to complete this mapping, automatically these fields will turn dynamic. So now after completing this mapping, we're going to move on further and click on this blue button which says save and send test request. And now my AI agent is going to generate me a proposal using these details which we received through the response of our Google Forms. So now what we have to do is we just have to wait for a few seconds till my AI agent is generating the proposal. And over here you can see that my AI agent has generated me the proposal. Over here you can see the whole proposal generated, and now I'm just going to add this proposal into a Google Doc. For that I'm just going to add another action step, and now for the action application I'm simply going to select it as Google Docs. So I'm just going to search for it and select it, and now for the action event I'm simply going to select it as create a blank document and click on this connect. Now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Docs account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now we have to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. And now Pabbly is asking me to select my Gmail account, with the help of which I'm just going to connect my Google Docs. So I'm simply going to select my Gmail account right over here, with the help of which I'm just going to connect my Google Docs. And now Pabbly is asking me for some permissions, so I'm simply going to click on this allow and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. And with this we have successfully connected our Google Docs account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me for the document name, so I'm just going to simply enter the document name. We're going to map the project title or objective right over here, and then statically I'm just going to enter proposal, and I'm simply going to click on this save and send test request button. And now with this we have successfully created a blank document, and now I'm just going to add the AI generated content in this blank document. For that I'm just going to add another action step. For the action application, once again we're going to select it as Google Docs, and now for the action event I'm simply going to select it as append a paragraph to a document and click on this connect. Now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Docs account, you can click on this select existing connection and then save. I have recently connected my Google Docs, so I'm simply going to click on this select existing connection and then save. Now it is asking me to select the document. So instead of manually selecting the document, we are going to simply map it. So I'm just going to switch on this mapping button and map the document ID from the response of my previous step. So I'm just going to look for document ID in the response of my previous step and map it. Now we're going to move on further. After mapping this document ID, I simply have to enter the text. So I'm simply going to open the response of my AI agent and map this message content. And after mapping both of this, we're going to move on further and click on this blue button which says save and send test request. And once we're going to click on the save and send test request, automatically we have received a positive response that we have successfully inserted this text in our document. document. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to add this document link into our Google Sheets. For that, I'm just going to add another action step, and first we're going to make this document a shareable one with the help of Google Drive. So I'm just going to search for Google Drive right over here and select it. And now for the action event, we are simply going to select it as share a file with anyone and click on this connect. Now once again it is asking me for the same. So if you have already connected your Google Drive account, you can go towards this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to go towards this add a new connection, sign in with Google. Once again you have to select your Gmail account, give Pabbly all the permissions, and then your Google Drive account would be connected. I have already connected my Google Drive account, so I'm simply going to go towards this select existing connection and then save right over here. And once we're going to click on this save, with this we have successfully connected our Google Drive account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me for the file ID. So for the file ID, once again it is asking me to select one, but I'm just going to simply map it. So I'm just going to switch on this mapping button, and we're going to map this file ID from the response of our previous step. Now once again we have turned this information as dynamic 2, which is the file ID. Now we're going to move on forward and click on this save and send test request. And once we're going to click on this save and send test request, we have received this web view link. So yes, with this we have successfully made this document a shareable one. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to map this web view link in my spreadsheet so that we can add that same link into our spreadsheet. For that, I'm just going to look for sheets in the action application. And now for the action event, we are simply going to select it as update cell value and click on this connect. Now once again it is asking me for the same, so I've already connected my Google Sheets account. So I'm simply going to go towards this select existing connection and then save. And once we're going to click on the save, it is asking me to select the spreadsheet. So as you can see, the name of my spreadsheet is project proposal request responses. So I'm just going to do the same. I'm just going to select the same right over here, which is project proposal request responses. I'm just going to select the sheet right over here, and now it is asking me for the sheet range which needs to be updated. So over here you can see the sheet range which needs to be updated is K4. So I'm just going to enter K4 right over here, but we're not going to enter K4 like this manually, but instead what we're going to do is right now it is K4, but with every new response received it will change, right? It will be K5, 6, 7 and so on. But you may notice that this K is constant, so we can keep this K as static right over here, but we have to map this row index because row is changing with every new response. So that's why I'm just going to enter the range like this. Now it's asking me for the value. So for the value, I'm simply going to map this web view link right over here and click on this save and send test request. And once we're going to click on this save and send test request, automatically this web view link has been added right over here. And over here you can see the full proposal which my AI agent generated. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our workflow. And now, like I showed you in the starting of this video, whenever a new form submission is going to be received with the help of this Google Forms, automatically Pabbly is going to capture the response, trigger the workflow, OpenAI is going to generate the proposal. Further, we are going to create a blank document and add the generated proposal in that document. We're going to make that document a shareable one and add that link in our spreadsheet so that my team can review it and share it further with my client. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our workflow and this video too. And now we don't have to come back and again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. This is going to run in real time, and within seconds the proposal would be generated and added into our spreadsheet. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our workflow. Now go try this amazing automation for your own business too, because right now we are offering a free trial of Pabbly Connect. And while trying, if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. See you in the next video with many more automation tips, everyone. Thank you for watching.
So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.